Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter, and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. Greetings and welcome if you are, Video Hangouts. My name is. Sorry. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so that you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar Forum member to attend the link, to find the link to attend the after party. And here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. And I'm going to post a link there momentarily with today's date, and there'll be the link there for you to click on, and then you come right into our meeting. Now, if you are not a member of Stunthangar, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Stunthangar, all one word, .com/S as in sunset, M as in Mary, and F as in foxtrot. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or state your comments in the chat box. You must have a YouTube channel, I believe, a registration to actually type into the chat box. And that's only during the live stream as well. So again, do this every Monday and Friday at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you have a question or comment, please do that during the live stream so that it'll be posted. Now, I'll do my best to make your comments a part of the show. Understand, sometimes, Mwa, I can't even get a word in myself. So be patient, and I'll ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comment. Now, if you enjoy, like I do, the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform, please give us a thumbs up. That's a like. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share the videos, and comments. Those also help. Now, I don't normally go on Sparky's channel that much, except for Monday and Friday nights. So if you have a comment or anything directed toward me, you'd be better off to go to my channel, which is Flying on YouTube, Flying Control Line Stunt. That's all one word, Flying Control Line Stunt. And make a comment there on any of my videos, and I'll get a notification. I'll get an alert that someone has commented or what have you. Any activity, I find out pretty shortly. So, and please consider joining our YouTube memberships, which start at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunthangar. And with your memberships, you'll get special badges. I can tell who are members in our chat box. They have certain icons, and they get unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. You can also use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box, to make donations. And again, that super chat is only available during the live stream, which I mentioned earlier several times already. It's Monday and Friday evening, 6:45 p.m. I mean, if you want to support us, and I hope you do, just come on in during those times, make your donation, and then come back and watch the replay when it's more convenient. But we definitely need your support, and I want to go ahead and thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. And while we're talking about the show, please keep the comments and the actions family room friendly. In other words, don't do anything or say anything you wouldn't do in front of your children or grandchildren. Without any further ado, I'm going to post the link at stunthangar.com. So I'm posting this right now. All right, great. So that's posted, and let me see what's going on YouTube. Let me log into Sparky's channel so I can look in the control room. So let's see what's going on. Just bear with me for a second here. I'm switching screens and I'm looking on 2 different monitors to see what's going on. And I don't hear myself, so I know I got to figure out what's going on. Let me first make sure that this is going well. Looks like, okay, we got the right date, and no, this is not for kids. And great. Well, Alexander III, hey, he says, hi, Charles. Greetings from Scotland. Hey, well, greetings to you from the United States. Thank you very much, Alexander. And we have 6 concurrent viewers, 6 likes. We're off to a great start. Thank you very much. All right, let me see if I can see what's going on here. Don't need that screen. Don't need that. And let's see what's going on here. All right, looks like Tom. Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Hey, Charles, going good.
Good, fantastic. So what you been up to?
Oh, I have, let's see, over the 4th, we had a family, kind of a family reunion on my wife's side. So had about, I don't know, 45 people down in Stewartville. And now I have my daughter and her husband went to the Boundary Waters. So we have their grandkids.
Oh, wow.
So they're here staying over for 10 days. So
oh, wow. Fantastic.
I'm keeping busy.
Yeah, you have. Well, you say pretty busy. I mean, I saw the thumbnail of you painting your boats.
Oh, yeah.
Did you paint boats or a boat?
I painted the pickle fork boat, and then I also painted a boat trailer.
Okay, yeah.
And let's see, I did a couple from the Nats that I posted. One was flying the what's that airplane that I built with the laser cut? Flight Streak, yeah. Like I posted that one of the flying the Flight Streak at the Nats.
Oh, good.
Both Mike and Sam flew it, or Mike flew it and Sam was there. And then I flew it. And it needs some adjustment and some changes, but it's just a fun fly plane for me. So at least it flew, and it's still in one piece.
Yeah. Hey, the Flight Streak's a good flying plane. I always consider Flight Streaks and Ringmasters kind of like Ford and Chevys, you know. People typically have a Ford or Chevy.
It's electric powered, and also instead of a timer, I have a radio controlling the throttle. So with whichever hand you're not on the control handle, the other hand's on the throttle.
Yeah, I saw that video of Mike flying it. I remember him holding the one thing in his hand. Yeah. So it's kind of like a car remote, right? Like a trigger.
Right. Yes.
Okay. That's very cool. Hey, John, how you doing? I timed that perfectly, just like a waitress. I've never been a waiter. I waited till you hit your gulp, and then I asked you, how you doing? How was your meal? Everything all right? You're like, I can't hear you for some reason. No, your mic's muted.
You're muted.
Hey, well, that's better than I have to commend you, John. You haven't been playing music in the background or any news going in the background. I appreciate that. You definitely
I can do that if you want.
No. I'm just want you to know. I know that how everyone always gets criticism, but they don't get much compliments. And I'm just want to let you know I appreciate it. You corrected that.
Well, thank you. I've tried to avoid it. And I was saying you have a bright future ahead of you as a waiter. What do you want? I fixed the pizza. He knows it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No,
Has anyone heard how Mike's doing?
I
After-
texted Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, John.
he posted a X-ray of his apparatus. It's how it's attached to that today on Stunthangar. So, but he didn't say a whole lot. He
Okay.
said something that he felt he'd be able to be working back in the shop real soon. And he wouldn't be able to do any boating, or any of the other stuff that he likes to do, but he can do lightweight stuff around. That's what he said.
Okay,
Yeah. So he's making progress.
good.
Yes. And Walter's making progress too. Walter Umlin.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Good.
Yeah. It's gonna be a little while before he feels good again, but at least things are improving. So that's always good. You tend to either go one direction or the other, and so he's on the improvement. Oh, that looks good. Hey, I'll trade you my popcorn.
Too bad you can't send a slice of that through the
You just hand it over to him. Here you go.
And
Whoever
Gary,
invents the ability to do that will be the richest man in the world in short order.
no
Because
kidding.
that'll be teleportation, everything, all rolled into one. What a breakthrough in science that would be. I'm not, it's too hot. You burn your little puppy lip. No.
Gary Sinclair is in here, but I don't see him. I see his name.
I know.
I agree.
It's not
Here.
coming up.
All right, we'll just give it some time. And while you're fixing that, Gary, let me catch up on the chat box. Alexander Third says sound and video is good. Thank you, Alexander. I appreciate that. And I know you're really good at doing that for Sparky as well. And so that's great. We appreciate your help. And Todd Simpson says evening all. I'm sorry, Stimson with a T. Do I have my glasses on? Yeah, my glasses are on. And then Alexander Third says, hi, Big John.
Hi, Alexander.
Thanks again for all your help in finding the plans. And Minnesota Mike, I haven't seen you in several weeks. He says, hello. We are, I guess, 113 degrees. I think that's what you're saying. Wow. Yeah,
I was feeling bad because it's 107 here.
yeah, I don't know what it is here, but it's hot here also.
It's about 60 here.
Oh, that's hot for you, right? You gotta have your t-shirt on, shorts, flip flops. Hey,
Hey, can you see me in this shirt now? Huh? Can you see that shirt? Is that yellow or is that not yellow?
let me see. I can't really tell.
Right.
Looks yellow to me.
Oh,
Yes, now I see certain angles. I can see the
oh,
yellow.
there's yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I was seeing that. Alexander, hey, I'm glad to have been able to be a help. I hope you get a chance to start cutting wood soon and build that. It looks like an awful nice airplane.
I'm gonna leave and try to come back. I can't get it to go. It says I'm using another camera. I don't have another camera.
Okay.
Okay, Gary.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Let's see if I keep from burning my fingers.
So my daughter gave me this shirt for Father's Day with a seaplane on it.
Yes, that's perfect.
That
for
is
you.
so cool.
That is perfect.
She knows me pretty well.
Yes, I bet. I know. That is perfect for you. My kids, they know I'm in the airplanes too. It's neat to be recognized for what we do. So is that a little bit too hot for you, John, or is it perfect? Sounds good.
Mhm. It is a little hot though.
Anybody ever done any flying or anything?
No, I haven't.
No.
It's been too dang hot around here to fly.
Hey, Gary, you're showing up.
Yeah, I know, but the sound's not good.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
It's
we
not
can
good?
hear you.
It's staticky.
Yeah, a little bit, but maybe you're just
Little.
you're clipping a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you are too.
I am too.
Yeah, for here, for me.
Not for me. Maybe your connection's a little slow, Gary. I don't know.
Well, Gary, let me just mute you, anyways, Gary, and then when you're ready to say something, just unmute it, okay? All right. Yeah, there was. Oh, I guess he's gonna come back.
Yeah, he's
Alexander says, "Got something strange for John. My flying tutor is Peter Miller. Lives here in Glasgow. He is in his 80s. His health is not the best."
My goodness, I bet you he's a kin of mine. That's where my family came from, was in right near Glasgow.
Yeah. Well, we're all like 33rd cousins of each other.
I was told that if you got back 16 generations, we're all related.
Absolutely.
So, but it's always fun to run into people that you're related to, even if it's just really tenuous. It's always nice to find. I mean, one of my things I'd like to do before I pull a pin on the big one, I really want to go to where my family came from in Glasgow, or near Glasgow, in Beath Ayrshire, and I would like to go and visit. And I know the old house is still there. Somewhere I've even got the address for the house. I don't have it handy right now, but and I've gone and looked at videos and all of that of the area, and it's a gorgeous little town. It has its own little history. You can tell by the name of this hill or that hill or things like that that there's a lot of interesting stories to be learned about it. And I would love to go there. It would be a fine vacation. I might even, if I was able to do it, if I was ever rich enough, if I win the lottery, I'd even bring an airplane.
Hey, Howard.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
What you doing outside?
Well, I'll show you.
Oh, look at there.
That's the old part. Blueberries. Yeah, I messed up. Let me go back. There they are. Yeah, that's blueberries are ripe.
Well, look at that. My goodness.
Wow, that's great.
Blueberry pancakes in the morning.
Yeah, blueberry yogurt. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
You get that when you live in Oregon.
I'm competing with the birds for them.
Yeah.
What?
I got some messages on the chat box. Alexander Third says the wood is in the post. Don't know what that means.
Outstand the wood to build the airplane out of.
And then he says, I'm sure that he might be. You know what that means, John?
Yeah, he's sure that I might be related to this Peter Miller that he knows.
Oh, okay. And then he goes on to say, you will have accommodation here with pleasure.
Oh my goodness.
Sure, we could work a plan with a model, would be more than welcome to taxi you about. Wow, that's great.
That'd be cool.
That's very very kind, Alexander. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Smashing.
Very kind. I would enjoy that so much. I once when I was in the Navy, we stopped in northern Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island of Japan. And in fact, this was in 1964. we were the first U.S. Navy ship to be there since World War II ended. And the whole town turned out for it.
Wow.
The college wanted, and the colleges came over and invited us to come and sit with their student groups that were trying to learn English so they could hear English spoken normally as we speak it, learn some of our colloquialism. That even the Communist Party met us, you know, they had a big truck and a platform and bullhorns and were telling us how bad we were. And but you had some cool. So I had on a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday. It was Saturday. I went into town. It was this very small town at that time, and got into the area of town where they had the roads were dirt, and people were walking. You know those little funny little shoes that they all the time show them in. A lot of people were wearing those because that's how they stay out of the mud. And I look outside, and by golly, there was a hobby shop. Can you believe it? I
Wow.
walked into this little town and found the only hobby shop in town.
True modeler. That's what a true modeler.
Yeah, yeah. So I went over and looked in his window, and I saw, oh, wait a minute, he's got an Enya 45 that I wanted, and he's got an Enya 35S that I wanted, and it looked like the price for both of them was about $12.
Nice.
So I went in, and the young man spoke just a tiny bit of English, and I spoke just a tiny bit of Japanese, but we managed to get everything through, and I bought those 2 engines from him. And I was going out the door, he stopped me, he says, basically he got it made known to me that he says, you fly? And I said, yes. He says, we come pick you up tomorrow, okay, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And we go up to the flying field, fly. I said, yeah, you bet. So at 9 o'clock in the morning, I get called over the speaker on the ship, you know, that there's some people up there waiting to see me. I run up there, and there's like 24 people there.
Wow.
And I mean, they've got cars, they got a whole procession, older to younger to that, and they were there to pick me up, to take me up to the flying field. And we went up to the flying field. It was up on one of the benches up above the city, and it was real nice. It was the person that owned the lumber yard up there, so he had to be wealthy, you know. But these people, we flew all day, and just had the greatest time flying. And I couldn't hardly speak their language, and they couldn't hardly speak mine. But we had fun doing it. And model airplanes is model airplane. When you speak model airplane, you understand each other, okay?
Right.
So the thing to look forward to, say, if I ever, before I pull the plug, if I ever get to Scotland, would at least we basically speak close to the same language. I've been told that Americans and the Scots and the Irish, and we all are a common people joined by separated by a common language.
Wow.
You didn't catch that, did you?
No, I'm busy on the back, you know, watching everything. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's basically that we all speak English, but we speak it differently.
Yeah. I get it. And, you know, John, I was on Brodak's website a couple days ago, and I was looking at Control Line World back issues, and I came across an issue that you was a cover on. I mean, you was on the cover.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I didn't know that you had a cover of that magazine. Is anybody else aware of that?
I was.
Yeah, I know you are. Let me see if I can share this with everybody. Because I saw it yesterday, and I was like, wow, that is amazing.
That was back when I could remember all of the designs that I'd drawn for him. Can't remember them anymore.
Well, this might not work because I have never shared on this format. So let's see if I can share this. Yeah, I was like, wow. Boy, I didn't know that John was such big time. Where did I-
No, I was never big time,
Well,
Charles. I'm not deprecating myself. I was just an average guy like anybody else that's on here,
well,
having fun, doing what I knew how to do and trying to learn what I didn't.
all right, let me see if I can share this. Okay, shares my first time doing this. Okay. Hey, Ed, thanks for coming in.
How's everybody?
Doing well. When I click the share button, is anything happening?
Yeah,
You guys see the magazine cover?
no,
No,
you didn't
Oh.
specify the page you wanted to share.
I think you just shared your desktop or maybe the wrong screen or something.
All right, so let me stop sharing. Okay, let me try it again. Well, that's share screen. Is there a different thing than sharing screen?
Well, you got one that asks you which screen you want to share, and you have to pick the screen.
Okay. And after I pick the screen I want to share,
Then it'll share.
I mean, when I click the share button, I see a couple screens. I see the picture of you in the magazine, John. Wouldn't I click
The
on
one you want to click on to share.
Okay, let me try share again.
There it is.
There it is. Now we see it.
Now you see it? All right.
Yeah.
So out there in the audience, I don't know if you're like me, but I didn't know John Miller was on the cover of Control Line World.
And I didn't even have a bikini on.
This is, and this is what plane is this, John? Hold me. Hey, Tryon.
That's the Torino.
That's what my guess was. So, yeah, so that's part of the people that we have is this John Miller. That's pretty awesome. All right.
Listen, Dennis Adamation has me head over heels. He
Yeah,
has
there
so much
is,
experience.
there is some, I mean, that didn't surprise me though. See, when I just happened that came up and I was like, oh, I didn't know John Miller was on the cover of Control Line World. For those of you not familiar with Control Line World, it really dealt with all aspects of control line. It wasn't just stunt or just carrier, or it dealt with everything. And it was a pretty neat magazine for its short stints that it was in. Unfortunately, it did not last. I imagine it got so expensive, like all publishing materials are.
What years was it published?
I think around 2000 to about 2012 or 14, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I think.
They have a lot of issues that are back ordered. They're like $14 a piece. So
There were that. There was a lot of information published in it.
oh, let me see here. Let me catch up on the chat box. So Alexander's third goes, this is what welcoming of the Scottish people. So I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
And then the Enya engines are one of the best.
Yep.
Now that's not according to Lynn. Lynn hates Enya motors. And I know Carl likes Enya motors too, right, Carl? I think Carl left. But and then Christopher Everson, welcome, thank you. He says, good evening all. And then Todd Stimson says, I've got John's issue of Control Line World in my heart for the next Bodak order. All right. Well, I didn't mean to solicit to be the buy, but that's great. Fantastic. So Ed, what you been up to, Ed?
Working around the house still.
Hey, well, I appreciate you coming in. I know you have a lot going on, and that's pretty taxing working on a house. And you're
Yeah.
back, Carl.
Yeah, I trying to find the adjustment board for my volume, and I'm having a hard time bringing it up. But
Yeah, well,
I think I'll quit on my head.
all right. So, Tryon, what are you doing? It looks like you're building something. What are you doing, Tryon?
Just masking stuff.
Hey, Phil.
I'm just masking stuff.
Okay, very cool.
Some new stencils. You know what I've done last week.
Yes, yes, yeah, I know.
I'm still recovering from that mistake.
Well, you know, that's how we learn. Unfortunately, School of Hard Knocks sometimes is the best teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Forrest Gump?
At least
Stupid,
it's easy to
stupid guys,
recover.
right?
I didn't quite get that.
At least it's easy to recover from.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I'll let Tryon explain. Go ahead, Tryon.
Well, my hardener has the same color as the clear. And I would put clear in a paint instead of hardener. He never got hard.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh,
genius, right?
no, just a mistake.
Yeah, so, but long story short, I'm not doing the checkers no more. I'm just going to keep a simple paint job. I'm going back to what I had on the plane before. And I'm going to stay with that. It looks good anyways. So I'm not going to complicate things more than they have to be, especially on the first try. Because of, you know, I think I did bite on more than I can chew for the first try. Most people don't even dare to go there to so many colors in one shot. And just keep it simple.
Well, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it simple, simple.
Stupid.
I mean, like the plane before didn't look too bad, did it?
No.
No, I thought it
No.
looked good.
No, not at all.
So, yeah. Sometimes you want more, but you're not going to get it. The only thing that's going to change from the previous plane is on the bottom of the wing and bottom of the elevator. I'm just going to put some checkers, like the random checkers. Still kind of same thing,
Yeah.
but just 2 colors. I'm not going to do 3 colors, go nuts on it. Just simple 2 colors, the same colors that are on the top as well.
Well, if you try a little bit, try a little bit this time and then try a little bit more next time. And
yeah, of course. I mean, I think, yeah. You're absolutely right, Phil. It's just on the first try, you want to probably don't go for the hardest possible thing that you can possibly get.
Yeah, really.
Might not be a good idea.
That's a good looking bird anyway.
Yeah.
That's a really good looking plane anyway.
Yeah. So that's that. I'm almost done with this guy. Right now I'm masking the wings, and after I'm masking the wings, I'm done. So perhaps tomorrow morning I'm officially in actually right now I'm officially in build mode.
Good deal.
Yep. Hopefully tomorrow morning I can do some painting. Maybe if the day is still good, I can probably go ahead and do some what do you call painting? Oh, I mean painting, and after the painting, I'm gonna do some cutting of material.
Oh, good. Getting ready to build. Well, I spent 2 hours today just masking the top of a ringmaster.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it takes time.
I'm sorry to laugh at that, Phil, but I know how much you hate to do that.
Yeah, I'm not a painter, but a couple of the guys have come up to me singularly, not everybody as a group, but said, why don't you do the paint scheme you did on your little stunt wagon? Do that on another airplane.
The one with the checker on the base?
No, not that one. The little stunt wagon. I'll show it to you when I finish. But anyway, I listened to them. I shouldn't have, but I listened to them. And I started doing that start putting that paint job on the Ringmaster. It's a small airplane and it's, but oh Lord, the plane is red, yellow, white, and black. I should have said black and white, but anyway. And now I've got lines around the white on the wing. So it's going to look funny if I don't put lines to emphasize the white stripe on the red fuselage. But I got news. It ain't going to get it. It's just, there's too many angles and too many. No, it's not going to get it. It's going to look funny without it, but it's just not going to get it. I'm just tired. It's a Ringmaster, for Pete's sakes. Most people around here just paint the darn things one color and go fly it. I got a little carried away.
You think so?
I think so. What I was trying to do was just get back into painting and learn how to paint, because I've got an ombre to paint that I really want to be nice. And I've got 2 other airplanes that I really want to be nice. So I was using this plane as a practice airplane, and then I'm going to use the next 2 as practice airplanes. And then the third one should be the ombre. It's sitting down there waiting to be painted, but I just don't want to mess that one up. So I tried some new tapes and I tried some new processes, and I even tried Bobby Hunt's idea of masking with paper towel, which by the way works. And I don't know, I'm getting there, but I'll tell you what, I hate painting. If I could find somebody around here that would paint them as quick as I can build them, we'd have some pretty airplanes.
Well, I'm glad to see you painting those, because then you get this pile of stuff and have to build some new ones.
That's it. Once I get these 9 finished, well, there's 8 now. Once I get these 8 finished, then I can build something new. But I promised myself and the wife that I would finish these before I start anything new. And I've got 2 down there I'm thinking real hard about. I want to do that. I want to build that Pathfinder with the LE wing in it. And I'm thinking about maybe an LE. I don't know. But I'm also thinking about 2 bits. So, Oh, I went to get.
Were you able to find some Rust-Oleum Painter's touch paint, or
No,
you just
never found it around here. I've been to Winston, Greensboro, High Point, and we even went down to Charlotte, looked a couple of places down there. Nobody around here carries that stuff. I don't know why. They say they have it, but you go to the store and what they have are the spray cans. And that's not the same thing.
Not the same stuff. Did you try Ace Hardware?
Yes, sir. I've tried Ace. I've tried, Ace Hardware, Dillon's. Walmart says they have it. They got spray cans. I've tried, I don't know where all. Everywhere I could think of, everywhere anybody around here has suggested I try. And nobody's got that. Everybody's got painter's touch, but it's always the spray cans. And I asked them if they can order. I'll tell you this, don't go to Walmart and ask the manager if he can order something different, because all they can order is what the home office sends them.
Yeah. Try Ace Hardware though. See if you can order.
I've been trying them, and they say that's all they can get. I don't know.
Home Depot.
Home Depot don't have anything anymore, hardly around here. They've got where all they carry is the spray cans and then gallon cans of house paint. That's about it. I don't know what's going on, but there's so much.
True Value.
Yeah, True Value.
Well, I have tried True Value too, but everything, I don't know about everywhere else, but our stores, I don't ever remember our stores having so many spaces blank on the shelves. Ever since this crap has started, there's just an awful lot of empty spaces on the shelves.
Yeah.
They're just not ordering stuff or not getting it in. I don't know what to do.
They probably don't have, probably used up all of their cash that they would, resupply with for things that they had to take care of during this pandemic.
That may have been it. But I tell you what, I've never seen the shelves look so vacant. It's sad looking.
Yeah, it's same way up here too.
I checked with the post office here. I could buy you some and ship it to you. Trouble is, post office won't take it.
Yeah, I know. And I decided to do a little cleaning up. and I went through I decided to go through the bottom of one of my cabinets. I needed some primer. Polar gray is what I usually use, polar gray and white. So I decided to try to find some. I couldn't find any. So I called my buddies. Nobody's got any. So I mixed silver and white, 1 part silver to 3 or 4 parts white. And I came up with the prettiest color.
Whoa.
I put it on the Ringmaster, used it as primer, and used it. It's my canopy color now. It actually looks like a canopy.
Really?
Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
So everything looks good. I decided to try that. So got that going and got it all framed out, and I got carried away and had to put the little line around the canopy now. They got to have it all. That's the problem with me painting. Once I get started, I get carried away. So anyway, I got all that done. It's going to be a neat looking little Ringmaster, but there's a lot of flaws. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's going to be the fanciest one around here. Although I mentioned it to Tom Looper today, and he's building a Ringmaster as well, so he will probably try to top me. And Tom tries, he will. His will be perfect. He's an artist, literally, and his will be right if he does it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, he built one and called it I've forgotten what he called it, but anyway, it looked like an old military airplane, and it was all dirty and weathered and yuck looking, all silver and weathered looking. And the thing looked like, of course, a Ringmaster doesn't look like a real airplane, but if a Ringmaster was a real one, that's what it would look like. He really did a nice job on it. But I can't see silver for some reason. To me, a silver airplane blends in the sky and it goes out of the trees and into the sky and it disappears, and it comes out of the sky and goes into the trees and it disappears. I've decided I just cannot see silver for some reason. So I don't do silver airplanes. Yeah, my wife says, you don't want to be riding with me when a silver car comes by, because I won't see it. I have to look for bumpers or headlights or something. I don't know what it is. I just can't see silver for some reason. But anyway, I couldn't fly his plane because I was scared. He wanted me to fly it. I was scared to fly it because I can't see the stupid thing. But anyway, I just can't use silver. So now I decided I wanted to build a P-51 Mustang. Well, what are all P-51 Mustangs? They're silver.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing I'm doing Obsession, which is, it'll have invasion stripes. It'll have the blue and yellow nose, and some other stuff. It's a very colorful one, and I'm gonna put a letter on the rudder, and I don't know whether it be yellow or what, but I'll do something. I'll make it where I can see both ends of it anyway, and hopefully see the invasion stripes. Al Raby had the same problem. He just painted yellow tips on the thing and a yellow nose, and then that big shark's mouth, and he said he didn't have any problem seeing it then. But I don't know. I think Al just had problems in some locations. I just flat can't see the darn color. I don't know why, but anyway, one of those things. But I'm looking forward to getting one of those big carbon fiber black electric jobs and flying that. As soon as Train gets everything worked out, I'm going to try to get one of those going. But anyway, what's everybody else building?
By then he might have checkerboards figured out on that thing.
Well, I hope, we'll do what we can. The Train's airplane is pretty the way it was. I mean, if he just does what he did before, he's got a beautiful airplane. I mean, he got the appearance. He got top appearance points at one of the contests. So, I mean, you can't hardly argue with success.
I mean, the concourse, that.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I actually did it twice, to my surprise, because I never thought that was a plane. I still don't think that's a plane that deserves a concourse.
It's all carbon and it looks great. Of course it deserves it.
Things the neatest look. Second. Yeah, catch up on the chat box. So did I say this already? Todd Stinson said, I've got John's issue of Control Line World in my cart for my next Kodak order. Yeah, I did say that. Then Daryl Wirtz said John was interviewed by Bob Hunt in his VSC video. I have it on VHS tape, Wings and Wind in the Desert. It is called.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it's that big twin engine back over there.
Okay. And that twin engine is what?
Winds and wings in the desert.
Oh, the name of the twin was called a Wings and Wind.
Wings and wind. The VSC almost got, I don't remember, that was the one we got blown out of or almost got blown out of.
That's every one I've been to.
Oh no, this one was really bad. Hey,
Gosh.
knock it off.
And next
I
thing
went-
is, Alexander III says, no synthetic oil, even the modern oil will not cut it. I don't know what that's about, Alexander. Then he goes on to say, the oil is about the engine, clear in Glasgow at sea level, give or take. Cut the nitro down to 5% and add a little more caster to push out the heat if you have any problems. Then Christopher Everson, welcome, Christopher. He says, I'm building a boomer and have at least 6 planes ready for polyspan and dope. So I feel your pain, Phil. So another guy loves to build.
Yeah.
And Christopher Everson goes on to say, what paint are you looking for, Phil?
It's I can't even think of the name of it right now, guys. I'm on so much stuff for shoulder, my neck and shoulder pain. I can't, if I say something that sounds completely stupid, it probably is. I probably shouldn't even be on this thing tonight. I can't think.
Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch,
There
and
you
it's a latex paint. It's not the
water-based. The water-based paint.
Yep, and it's in a can, not a spray can, but
Yeah. The stuff works beautiful, and somebody sent me a little bit of it, and I put it on a crashed airplane wing, and it went right over the the tissue, the dope that was on it. It went over that, and I was able to do what I wanted to do with, put a design in it. The edges came out nice, and I put clear dope over top of it, and it fuel proofed just fine. I poured raw fuel on it, and it didn't do anything. So, I mean, it's great. It looks like great stuff. It's what I'm going to try if I can get it, but I may have to get other guys to send it to me.
It's not very expensive either.
Not very expensive, and it goes through an airbrush grate, and you clean up with water. You don't have to use $19 a gallon thinner.
Yep.
I hate that. That's just ridiculous. I went to go get thinner, and the darn thinner is more expensive than the dope used to be. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know I'm getting old. You know you're getting old when you look at kits and you think, dang gum, I used to buy those for $1.50. Now they're $40. Jeez. Feel like an old guy. I am an old guy. What am I saying?
where do you find a kit for $40?
Yeah, well, that's true too. But I was looking at, we got talking the other week about planes we started with. I started with a little Satan and a little jumping bean. My first kit really was a combat kitten, but I remember I bought one combat kitten set, and then I bought, I don't know how many little Satans and how many little jumping beans, at least 2 or 3 a piece, before I moved on to 35 size stuff. And I used to go out and mow yards and go to the hobby shop. I spend Saturday mowing yards, then go to the hobby shop on Monday evening. Be too late Saturday when I got done mowing. Go to the hobby shop on Monday afternoon, buy a little Satan kit, the dope, the glue, everything I needed to put together, and fly that sucker the next Saturday. Of course, it hadn't meant I had to mow yards on Thursday and Friday, so I could go flying with the guys on Saturday. But you can't do that now. Well, I guess you can, because the last time somebody tried to mow my yard, he come up, knocked on my door, and said, "Hey, I'll mow your yard for $100." Say what?
What?
Yeah. Well, I got a big yard, but that's ridiculous. And he wanted to use my lawnmower.
And
I
your
said, no, thank you, but that's what I do to relax. I get on the lawnmower and no phone or nobody else bothers me. Now my wife got me a set of these neat headphones that I can listen to the radio while I'm playing, while I'm out mowing. Problem is the phone rings through it. So anyway, every time we take one step forward, we take a half a step back.
Yes.
Well, you know, you're talking about kits. When you were a kid, I remember buying a remaster for $15 back in the 70s when
Hmm.
I was, you know, kits. And now you
I was
can't
buying them
get
in the
them for less
60s.
than $100. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
bought it
remember
for
when
$1.95.
I remember when George's Hobby Shop, you could go to George's Hobby Shop, and he had three 35 engines laying there. A Fox 35, a McCoy 35, a Fox 35, and an OS 35. And they were $13.95, $14.95, and $15.95.
You did
So
start late. You did start late.
late?
Yeah.
Well,
When
that's
I
the cheapest
started,
I remember.
when I started out, I could buy the McCoy 35 Redhead for, if you got it on sale for $3.95.
Yeah, I bought one at the box said $5.95, but that's the cheapest
That
one
was
I
a
ever heard
normal
of. Three?
that was a normal price back at the beginning. But every once in a while
Yeah.
you'd find them on sale. And then
Wow.
a Fox 35 was a $11.95, $9.95 or $11.95, depending on sale or not.
Wow.
And we didn't have the OS. They weren't in the country yet in any number.
Yeah.
But we did have the KB. The KB 35 was $9.95, I believe.
Yeah, I bought a K&B 35 and I bought a Greenhead Torpedo 35. I never could get either one of them to calm down, so I let them go cheap. I just and then I made a mistake. I bought a Super Tiger 35, and I did not know the difference between a baffle piston and a flat top. And I tried to start that flat top on a stunt plane. It broke a chicken stick. I kid you not, that sucker broke a chicken stick. And I said, then I don't think I want to stick my fingers in this motor. So I took it off and went and bought a Fox. I just could not.
Was that the
If it did that to a drumstick, both my brothers, younger and older, were drummers. So I always had a supply of drumsticks, broken drumsticks.
Oh, cool.
So I did that. I was the only get fiddle picker in the family. And I don't know, but that thing broke that chicken stick. I had a nylon prop on it, one of those 10-6 nylon props, top flight. And I hit that thing with that chicken stick, and it came around and popped that thing and snapped it in half. I said, I don't think I want to do this again. So I took that off and brought it on. Oof.
So was that the
I wasn't very
Phil? They have the C case, or was that a V case?
G21
Oh,
is the one. But
I'm
it was
with that motor. Yeah, that's a scary motor.
I kept that thing for about 10 years, and then one of my buddies here was flying a combat match, and he busted his airplane, but it broke the motor. And he said, well, I'm out of motors. I guess I have to quit. And I said, take the Venturi needle out of that. I'll be back in a few minutes. It was about 4 miles from the field home to where I was living at the time. I went and got that motor, took it back to him. He put it on there and won the match, won the contest with that motor. And he said, how much I owe you? I told him, if you can get that thing started and not take your finger off, it's yours.
Yeah, that's a wicked motor to me. That motor scares me. That is a wicked motor.
It scares me. I tell you what, I've never had much luck with them. I own 2 of them now because I got the stupid idea I wanted to fly some combat with Clayton Smith when he was alive, and one of the guys actually started the thing for me, and I tried to fly it, and all I could do was make big figure eights, and Clayton chased me around. He says, I thought it was hard to fly combat with a combat guy, but with a stunt guy, you're crazy. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I admit it. He said, I didn't get a single cut on you. At least hit me once. I didn't even know I'd hit him.
Wow.
I honestly didn't. He was trying to get out of my way and flew in front of me. I didn't even know I'd hit him. So that was just too fast for me. It was 5. Oh gosh. It was 5 minutes of being utterly out of control is what it was. That's honestly what it was. When that thing got it on the ground, I said, that's it. I'm done.
Was that
that one?
Howard? I don't think you can hear me.
His mic is off.
Yeah.
What's that?
Howard,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that hurts to see that.
Was that from last
Oh,
weekend?
Lord.
No,
Last
this is
weekend.
just old G21s.
Oh,
of covering on the bottom of them.
When Howard came to Winston to our 4A, I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing something different than everybody else was doing because he was clearly the class of the field. And this is a 4A stunt match. These guys are good combat flyers. And Howard was so much faster and so much, I mean, there was no doubt, unless he just flat screwed up and flew into the ground, you knew who was going to win because he was just the class of the field.
Look at those pieces. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's
Even Howard,
wow,
Howard
that's
has
sad.
bad days, obviously.
That's
Good
sad.
grief.
You guys, let me interrupt because I want to recognize Jack Snavely. He gave us $10 in a super chat, and he says, "Hi guys, I'm off to my night job, so I can afford coffee for my night job." So thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. I know Sparky appreciates that very much. Brent Williams says, "Hi guys, had some great fun flying this week here in Utah with Gordon Delaney and Bart Kaplinski."
yeah. Well, I went up there and they didn't want to fly.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want your company, huh, John?
It might not have been. I mean, that might have been the case. Yeah, they knew I'd be have to fly one of their
Believe
airplanes, and they weren't ready to give it up.
Yeah, so well, fantastic, Brent. That's great. You had a chance to fly. And then Greg Nielsen says, "Evening all from South Florida. Light sprinkles on and off all day. Hope you all are doing great." Yeah, we're doing great. Thank you, Greg. And Marcel Legrand says, "Evening, everyone." You up and about, Mike. So Mike, Marcel is glad to see you up and about. And then Alexander III says, "A question. Does anyone supply a needle valve assembly and venturi for an OS Max 35? Thanks in advance." You know, I know Jim Lee sells those.
Yeah, he does.
Jim Lee's a place to go for any of that stuff.
So does
And,
Smith.
and I imagine RSM, I think RSM would have those needle valves as well. There's probably other places as well. And then there's a guy on eBay. I always mispronounce his name. Starts with the S.
Shutterman.
Shutterman or
Shutterman, yeah.
yeah. He has a lot of needle valves for a lot of engines. You might want to check that out, Alexander. And then Marcel Legrand says, "Hi, John. It looks like your bike has moved." So we got people keeping an eye on your room, on your background.
We're keeping an eye on that bike.
It's things are happening. It's slow. I got to get off my dumb ass and start. Oops, where's the jar? my dumb butt and get over and start doing some drawing stuff. I have really gotten lazy. I've been not doing what I should be doing. But it's too dang hot to do much.
It's hot to be motivated, John. It's really hot.
Just for Brent, though, I have a question to ask Brent Williams. Brent, what did you fly? Did you fly the Pathfinder 60? The notorious Pathfinder 60?
Pathfinder 60?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, well, there was only one ever built. Gordon campaigned it for a while. And one day he got out there, and I don't know what he was doing. He finished the pattern, and he started doing loops and got them smaller and smaller and smaller until he couldn't get them any smaller. So then he started doing square loops and getting them smaller and smaller, and finally the wing blew up on it.
Oh.
And so the airplane was rescued by one of our club members, and he's an older gentleman, and he did a big job on repairing and doing a few things. And he got to the point, he's like almost 100 years old. He got to the point where he wasn't going to be flying anymore. So Brent managed to pick up a lot of his airplanes, and in that pile of airplanes he picked up was the Pathfinder 60. And it's basically the Pathfinder 40, that red, white, and blue one I have. I think you've all seen it. Full body. It's the bigger version of that, and Brent seems to like it. So, and Gordon says he flies it really well.
I like my just regular Pathfinder, and mine's a 2-gear. It's a tail dragger. I don't know why it was built as a tail dragger. I didn't build it. Somebody gave it to me, and I've restored it and got it going. And I really enjoy the plane. It's got a Tiger 51 on it.
That's what Bart is building at Gordon's house right now. It's not a tail dragger. It's a tri-gear Pathfinder profile. That's what he's building.
Well, I'm gonna build one. I'm gonna build that swept wing one and probably put a 51 on it if I don't build it electric. It'll either be electric or
the Mark III. Did I show you the Mark III?
I have a Mark III.
Oh, that's right.
It's an LE. It's an LE wing in a profile fuselage, a built-up profile fuselage.
That's different than the Mark III. Okay.
What's the Mark III then?
Mark III is a standard Pathfinder profile, but the fuselage is lengthened, and it has a tapered wing in it.
How much is it lengthened?
Enough to have the CG in the right place with, because you've got your mean aerodynamic cord, which means at the base of the root of the fuselage there, it's longer on front and in back, so it has to be length at that. Then it's kept, I think, on that one it's still 17 inches flap horn to elevator horn. So, and then in the front, it's the same distance, for the leading edge of the wing, to the back of the spinner, it's the same distance as the Mark II. But excuse me, but because of the tapered wing form, coming like this, it's of course a lot wider here.
Yeah.
There's been, I think, two or three of those built now. I don't know. I never heard anything about them flying them. I don't know what happened to them. So
well, the only thing I don't like about this one, it's not got a sheeted leading edge, and it's built like an I-beam, which makes me kind of wonder because the other one is a sheeted leading edge.
That's right.
I wonder if this wing's going to be strong enough to stand it. Because this thing, my Pathfinder, that thing turns hard.
Yes. Yeah, and so does the LE. So Gordon decided after the first Pathfinder, the Mark I, that was a long wing version.
Yeah.
that was basically an I-beamer, and it didn't have sheeting edges. And he decided that he wanted to shorten the wing and put a C-tube on it, sheet the leading edges, and the airplane flies every bit as good. That's what you're probably flying right now. And it made the airplane a whole lot tougher. It didn't blow wings. I blew a wing on mine. So I know a couple of blew wings on them because they turn so. I mean, it's derived from a combat.
They turn hard.
It's derived from a combat plane. That's where it got its start.
Yeah. Well, you can tell the airfoil's combat, but wow, that thing turns. First time I flew it, my first maneuver was I wasn't smart enough to do like a new airplane and do a climb and a dive. I went ahead and decided to fly the pattern. And when I pulled up to do the reverse wing over, I went past 90 and I had to correct and said, now, wait a minute. Wow. So when I came down the other side, it bounced well up and I had to get used to that. So then you get used to flying that airplane and you pick anything else up, and you better be careful because the pullouts are interesting until you get used to the airplane again. That plane really turns hard. I wanted to ask you a question, John. I can't remember what it is, but maybe I'll think of a few minutes. Like I say, I'm so foggy headed tonight. I just went to the doctor this morning. They gave me some new prescriptions and I'm in La La Land, man.
Your shoulder still hurting you?
Oh yeah, shoulder and neck both are driving me crazy. But I'm going out in the morning, and we've got the widow of one of our late members is back in town this weekend, and called Tommy, talked to her tonight, and she called and said she wants to see everybody. So if we don't go flying, which we may not get to because the tail end of that stupid storm still going through here, then we'll all go to lunch at TJ's and go down and meet her down there and get to see her. Real sweet lady. Most of you that go went to Brodax will remember him. He was always, Basil was I can't even think of his name. I've started calling him Basil. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was a real nice guy, and everybody knew him. Everybody liked him. He was an engineer, and if you ask him a question, he would absolutely describe it to the nth degree. But he was a great guy. We all miss him, and he was our Brodac rep. So he was an interesting fellow. Everybody misses him, but his wife's in town, and we're going to go see her and say hello to her and have lunch with her and buy her lunch. She don't know that yet, but everybody's already agreed we're going to buy her lunch.
All right.
So we'll have a good time. But I don't know about the rest of it. We're having a tail end of that darn storm, and I'm telling you what, it's either absolutely beautiful or it's trying to blow you down and soak you down. It's been a mess. The last 2 days have been a mess. But it's supposed to be clear in the morning.
I got a response from John's question to Brent. Brent says, I flew the big 1992 Pathfinder, 750 square inches, 65-inch wingspan, Super Tiger 51, 63 ounces. Very impressive. Incredible airplane. It flies so good. Makes me look like a really good flyer. Well, that's the kind of plane we all need.
It will. Build you a Pathfinder. I'm not kidding you. You'll love it. That's a great airplane. I'm really enjoying the one I'm flying.
That is a big
and I did not build it.
That is a big Pathfinder, yeah.
That is a huge Pathfinder. That's bigger than my Strega.
I got a picture.
Is that as big as the what's that one big twin that Bruce Perry flies?
No, it's not as big as Too Much.
No.
Okay.
It's not near that big.
But
I've got a picture of Gordon Delaney with his Too Much up on the wingtip, and Gordon's hiding behind it. The plane is what, 4? I don't know. It looks like 3 or 4 feet taller than Gordon.
You gotta remember Gordon's height deprived.
Well, yeah, but that airplane's huge.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. We used to call him the Great Short One. That's what you'll hear us talk about. GSO Delaney. That's the Great Short One.
Well, I always wondered how Gordon did so well in combat matches, because at his height, even with his arm up, all I'd have to do is hold my arm straight over my head. And no way he's going to get to the tail.
He'll bite you on the ankles.
He's like my little Chihuahua. I'll tell you what.
He just no Chihuahua. You ever looked at that guy? He's built like a Band-Aid box.
He is.
He's an Irishman through and through.
But he's nice as they come.
Oh yeah. But you know how you kill an Irishman in a fight? The Irishman is standing there getting closer and closer, hoping he gets hit so he can get in the fight.
Oh, good Lord. Lord. I tell you what, though, Gordon at the Nationals, he had brought the Colossus. He'd also brought that full scale looking thing. It looks like a Tony to me. I can't remember what it was, but it was a Tony. And I went over and I'm looking at the airplane. He says, "You like it?" I said, "What's not to like?" So then I asked him, I said, "Where is the Colossus? I want to see Colossus." "Oh, it's back at the hotel room." I said, "All right, well, you gonna bring it out tomorrow?" He said, "Well, because we were there a few days early." Anyway, he said, "Well, heck, come on back to the hotel room, take some pictures." I wanted to take a picture of it. So went back to his hotel room, took pictures of all his airplanes, and he had the Tony, he had the Colossus, and he had the 57, Heinz 57, which turned out to be one heck of a flying airplane. But a great guy. I really enjoyed Gordon. He's a lot of fun. I had met him at VSC, but I'd forgot that I'd met him. But he remembered me.
Yeah.
Man's got a memory on him. That's something I don't have. I don't have a very good memory at all anymore. I got a good memory. It's just real short.
You know, you mentioned his Tony. That's an airplane that never got both times he took it to the Nats, he had troubles with his flying. One, he cartwheeled it across the L pad there one time.
Ooh.
Broke inside. But that plane never got to live up to his full potential. I think in any of the cases, he could have been in the top 10, if not the top 5 with that airplane, first time out. But I don't know, unless somebody builds one and it campaigns it, I don't think people will ever realize what a good airplane that Tony is.
Well, he never published the plans to it.
Yeah, it is. It's published in Flying Models.
Flying Models?
Yeah.
Well, I had to see if I can get a whole set of plans to it then.
Yeah, well, if you can't get them there, you know where you can get them.
Yeah.
I have a friend who built a Tony, and it was a good flying plane. That's where the Stalker I have, the first Stalker, came out of, because he lost a plane in a flame out, and he crashed this beautiful Tony. And then from that time on, he never trusted that Stalker, and that's how I came to in possession of it. I have a few more people in the chat box. I skipped to get to the answer to your question, John, that Brent provided. So above that was Alexander 30 said, Alexander, there is a link on the Stunthangar to Lee Machine. So that's a great place to go, by the way. I'm a patron of Lee Machine Shop. He knows me very well. And then Alexander says, thank you, Chris. I will have to look in the morning. And then Alexander III goes on to say, I thank you all for tonight. It's going on to 4 a.m. here. Sleep well and have a great evening.
Grief.
Take care.
And it's a work day.
Thank you, Alexander. Wow. I appreciate that, and I feel you. I was up to 5 this morning working on my Red Strega. And then Marcel Legrand says, I have built 3 now and just love them. Pathfinder is a top stunner with a LA-46.
Oh, yeah.
And Alexander says the sun is coming up. So, yeah. It's,
Lord.
Scotland's a little further north than us, and the sun will come. It's like being in Alaska.
Yeah. John, I remember what I was going to ask you. What I was going to tell you. It's not what I was going to ask you. It's what I was going to tell you. I went to the print shop this week and I got a whole bunch of copies for different friends. I got to distribute in the morning. And I wanted to get 2 bits copied. She brings me 3 pages of 8.5 by 11. She said, that's as big as it is. And I'm looking at that. I looked at it and I thought, how in the world can a print shop take a copy off of a zip drive? And she's making all these other copies for me, and then think that one's supposed to be 8.5 by 11. I mean, that takes intelligence.
I'll tell you what. I've got to do some work on the 2 bits. I've got to send a set of plans down to New Zealand, and I got to send another set of plans here in the States. You guys, the New Zealand guy, the other state guy, and you are kind of going to be my my prototype, because there's some things I got to try out, and I'll lay them out what I've got in my mind, and that you can that what you got. And anyway, but I've got to send those. Will be the latest sets of plans.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll get
cool.
it. So you saved yourself some money, but
boy, they hit you for it now. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
$10 a sheet.
Yeah.
What in the world? Didn't used to be that expensive, but the shop that I used to go to got bought out by this shop, and boy, this shop is laying it to us.
The shop I go to charges, like, I think it's 35 cents a square foot or something like that, 45 cents a square foot.
Well, if that, it wouldn't bother me if there wasn't a foot on the outside of the print on both sides, and they charge you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just up in the ante. It's not fair, but that's the way they're doing it. But
well, they come off with what the indicated size of the paper is from the file.
yeah,
And I don't know about other people, but I know I often leave a little excess there because people write notes and, keep things, phone numbers to people they want, on the edges
Yeah.
of the prints. And rather than get it
Yeah.
all, they got it all out in there. So, yeah.
it's getting crazy. I tell
And
you
it's
what.
like the inks are costing more, and the ink cartridges, a lot of them are ink cartridge run. I told you about that printer I got here with the Echo tank.
Yeah, I went and looked at one. That's what we're
Did you?
probably going to be getting.
I
That's
am
probably
so
what we're.
tickled. I have got
Well-
almost 2,000 pages, both sides, and I'm still at 80% on the black.
Good grief!
And they say that it'll go 2 years. I didn't know they
It'll dry.
2 years at the
It'll
bottom.
dry up around here before it lasts that long.
The thing
It's
is,
crazy.
I'm not worried about printing big print jobs,
Mm-hmm.
because it's working.
Yeah. Well, I see Michael's working on plain my colors, red and yellow. They're easy to see.
Yeah, they are. What plane is that, Mike?
Oh, I know what it is. Cardinal.
Yeah. I didn't. Let me
It's a
see the
cardinal.
tips. I didn't notice whether it had cardinal tips or not. What are the
I'm
wingtips
building-
like?
By the way, Mike,
it's-
you're muted, by the way, Mike, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, see, it doesn't have the cardinal wingtips on it.
I don't know. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
This
just so
was in
darn
that-
big. It's so darn
was
big.
in
They were
that-
out of frame. Go ahead.
This was in that group of stuff I bought from that guy from Kentucky, that Cardinal profile. We had taken the engine off it to take it as a spare to the Nats for Samuel. So I'm just putting the motor back on it right now.
How you feeling, Mike?
How are you feeling, Mike? It's a good question.
Pretty sore.
I believe that.
Well, it's good to see you in the shop. Don't overdo it, though.
Yeah, I'm about done after this. We've worked on a couple of combat planes and pulling some motors off. I think that's going to be it for the night. I'm starting to get sleepy from the medicine. So
Yeah, me too. If he has problems with that Cardinal though, turning funny and doing weird things, a lot of the guys are saying they're cutting as much as 7/8 of an inch off of those flaps
Those are huge.
and making
flaps.
them much smaller, and it turns much better.
he
It's
ain't
just got
having no
two different.
problem. He ain't having no problems with it. He beat me in advance with this airplane at El Dorado. But he
Cool.
having problems.
Yours is flying right then. I'd had to judge 2 of those things at the contest up in Roanoke Rapids, and I kept looking at them. And I thought they don't look like the other Cardinals I've seen. And these guys told me they'd cut some off the flaps, cut the flaps down, and it turned better.
But why would you do? Why would you do that? If you feel you have too much flaps, just lower the travel, keep the surface area. When you cut the flaps, you cut this from the surface area of the wing, right?
That's true.
So
that's true. But how do you lower?
You have just as much drag as
that.
before. Why not just lower the travel on the flaps, and you have the best of both worlds?
Well, that's true.
Wouldn't that make more
That's
sense?
true. Yeah, make it tall, make the horn taller.
You really need to fly them to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mine, I had the connection points reversed on the flap horn. I had the.
Oh Lord, made it quick.
I tell you, the way I had it set up, it made it fly really nice.
Wow. Sounds good, but it sounds like it would be awfully quick.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that for a plane I was going to try to really compete with, but it worked.
Mhm.
And I sold the plane, explained to the guy that I sold it to some things and set it up the way it should be set up for him. So
Yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just buy some bigger horns, some custom horns. Try that.
well,
Makes
you can
sense.
try it and see.
I started to say you
Actually,
can't do
if-
it.
Actually, if you look on the plans, unless they change it, the plans are set up showing the way I had mine set up.
Yeah. Well, that's just,
Those are
I've got the
records.
kit. I've got the kit downstairs, but I loaned my plans out and he's lost them. So I guess I'd be calling Brodak, ordering another set of plans.
Yeah,
Hey, that pipe Pathfinder you were all talking about, was that a built-up kit or a profile?
That's profile kit. Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
All righty. Let me catch up on the chat box. Alexander III says the sun is coming up, and then Bruce Kimmick says 5 a.m. in South Africa. Well, thank you
Wow.
very much, Bruce, for finding value in our programming to watch us at 5 in the morning. I appreciate it. And then Alexander III says, hi, Bruce. I live in, what is SA? Oh, maybe it's South Africa. For a few years, I started in Johannesburg. Yes, that's South Africa. And then
South
on Bloem 14 or Bloem 14. I'm not sure where that's at in South Africa. I haven't been there. Hey, Phil,
No,
I have
I've
a
never.
question. You guys were talking about the control systems, and I've always been intrigued when I see the push rod coming from the bell crank to the flap horn, and then the push rod going from the flap horn to the elevator, all at the top. I've never had that where they're just kind of at the same height. What does that do? Have you experienced that?
Well, it makes it very, very quick. It makes your controls very, very twitchy. The only person that I've ever known that could fly one like that and do well with it was Bob Gieske. And of course, he was 7 times national winner and world champion. But Bob Gieske had unbelievable reflexes. But I tried it on one plane and I couldn't handle it. It was too quick for me. But I've always gone bell crank to the top horn, to the top hole in the flap horn, and then come off 3/4 of an inch up on the flap horn back to the elevator and run the elevator at 3/4 of an inch.
Right.
That being said, I try to use an adjustable horn that will go down to 1/4 and up to an inch so that I can slow the elevator down or bring it up. It seems like in the spring and fall, you need less elevator, but in the middle of summer in the heat, you need a little more elevator. So you end up adjusting it one time a year to get more elevator and then cutting it back. But I mean, if you're gonna make it adjustable, just make it adjustable. But a lot of the guys have gotten away for many years. Tom Dixon still uses, makes some of the most unbelievably loose and nice control systems that anybody I know. And he still uses a piece of wire from the bell crank to the flap horn, and he'll attach it to the flap and put the bell crank where it has to be so everything's neutral. And then he'll run another piece of wire from there back to the flap, to the elevator horn, and he'll move the elevator up or back a tiny bit to get that dead nuts. And everybody says, oh no, you need to get it where you can make it, put it on the moments that are supposed to be on the plan. Tom's planes fly. I mean, they really fly well. I've flown 2 of his planes, and I've never flown one that was uncomfortable in any way. The man's got something right, and his controls are always loose and they're always nice, and they always fly very well.
And don't forget his inexpensive bell crank he uses. Remember, he uses that one bell crank he sold on. It's inexpensive bell crank.
Yeah, but the way he does it, he instead of having that thing where it's the bell crank is turning nylon to nylon, he puts a bushing through the center of the bell crank, through that nut, that hub in the center. You know, it's a big thing, and I don't know how to say it, but anyway, he puts something in there to where he has to drive that into the bell crank, and then he puts before he gets all the way in, he puts some glue in and drives it the rest of the way in, so that bell crank is one solid piece. Now he puts a piece of wire through that. He's already got a piece of brass in there. Puts a piece of wire through that, and then puts washers or whatever on each side. And his bell cranks are incredibly loose and free, and they're inexpensive.
Yeah.
But again, by golly, it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying the Windy stuff, you know, the old Windy bell cranks every time I can find them, 4-inch, and putting them in stuff and making it work, and it works fine. But Tom's way works just as well, maybe better, and he's spending a whole lot less money. And by the way, if you ain't got a dadgum ball link in the system, it can't break. So how am I supposed to argue with him that you know, am I supposed to tell him, Tom, that don't work because it don't have ball links in it? You can't adjust it. You can't argue with something that works as well as what he does, because what he does works every time. I've seen his planes crash. I've never seen one crash from a control system failure.
The only thing I'd have to say to that is occasionally, if you're not careful and setting up, you got your bell crank set up to where it's not really at neutral when it's a neutral kind of thing. Or if you got the flap horn, the elevator horn just a little too short or a little too long, you know, that's what you need to have the adjustability for. Also, people used it also. I remember we used to say they didn't fly very well until the hole wore out a little bit on the elevator horn, so that it has a slot back there. And so, you know, the thing is if you get too much slot, anyway, all of that is the reason why they go to adjustable elevator horns. But if you set it up right in the first place, and you spend some time making sure that it's lined up and good, you don't really have any trouble. As soon as I've said it here before, as soon as I went to 2 degrees of down thrust when flying with a counter rotating prop, I no longer had hunting problems. I didn't have to worry about having down elevator, because all that down elevator doing was giving it down thrust, you know, raising that tail up, and that's what that was taking care of. Fact is, we do put a little bit of about a half a degree or thereabouts of positive stab incidence, which is down thrust or down elevator, but that's only that just takes up the variables.
Well, that's about right. The two that I have 2 airplanes that I started flying them and they just flew right off the board. And I wanted to know, what have I done? Because I want to do this again. And I got to checking them. And I had put a little bit of down in the motor. I put a little bit of right thrust in it to 1 degree or 1.5 degrees, no more than that, in the motor to the outside of the circle. Now Sparky says 2 degrees, and I'm not going to argue with him. I mean, his planes fly great, but I use 1.5, and about a degree to 1.5 degrees down thrust, and I have about 0.5 degree of up in the front of the stab. Just can it up just a little bit. It's just enough up so it's not down. So you know without question it's not down, and that's all it is.
And like Ted Fancher says on out thrust, Ted Fancher says just enough out thrust to know you don't have any in thrust.
That's it. And like Bob Hunt says, he says, I do not do anything to induce a yaw in my airplanes. That makes sense. That makes sense, because a couple of my airplanes that have adjustable rudders and Rabia rudders and all that, if you really fly them enough to fly them, get used to them, you use less and less rudder, and the less rudder you put in the darn thing, the better it flies. So that's, I mean, you know, I got all into Raby rudders and putting them on everything, and then all of a sudden I'm building adjustable rudders. And if you look at a couple of my planes I'm flying right now, the rudders are straight. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out myself. I've been doing this more than 50 years and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I'm a sport flyer. I mean,
it's kind of like golf. It's kind of like golf. There's never been the perfect golf game. There never will be.
No, but we keep trying.
Yeah, there's never been the perfect control lines aerobatic stunt flight. There never will be, but we keep trying.
Yeah, Tom Looper's always told me, he said, there's perfection in the bottom of a gallon of fuel. So,
Yeah.
but we don't know which gallon, so we keep burning them up trying to get to that one.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Oh, Lordy. I tell you what, Michael looks like he's deep in thought there. We're about to go to sleep, one or the other.
Well,
Yeah.
he's probably hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
I'm just listening to you guys.
There's a question
I
for
was-
you, Mike, from Alexander III. He asks, how did Sammy's stunner go to the blue one?
Oh,
He
compared
didn't
to
fly it. He didn't fly it.
Okay.
Sam did not fly junior at the Nats. The way he flew intermediate with his Brodak ARF Vector 40 and took fourth overall. When they compressed all the events and decided to run everything in one day on Thursday, that also meant they were running junior, senior, and open on Thursday. But what that meant for us was they forced all three of our combat events into one day: speed limit, fast, and half A. So we had a choice to either stay over on the combat circles and fly three events there, and we weren't going to try to scramble to run Sam over to fly stunt. So he scratched from junior, senior. There was no reason. We were the last people to leave the AMA site on Thursday. We finished combat at 8:15 in the evening is when we were finished with our day.
Wow.
We started at 8
Yes.
o'clock in the morning, and we flew three events in one day. Three events in one day. So we weren't just going to try to squeeze in a fourth and get over there on the L pad to fly stunt. So we just bailed on it this year.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I hope it's in July next year.
Yeah. It wasn't because he didn't think he could beat the other juniors there or anything like that. It was nothing like that, which I had heard from somebody, which I wasn't real happy about. But as it was, the other junior just did a wing over and won the trophy. That was it. So did one reverse wing over, nothing else in the pattern, and won the trophy because there was nobody else there to compete against. I can tell you this, if Samuel was there, he would have competed and flown the pattern and not just did a wing over to walk away with a trophy. So there's that. But there's next year. He'll prove his mettle next year on the LPAD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bring it on, Sam.
I hope to be there.
Yeah.
And then let me continue on with the chat. After he asked that question for Mike, and he goes on to say, this is Alexander III. He says, oh boy, Blowman flower fountain, and he's just cracking up. There's an icon with him laughing profusely with the tears come out of his eyes because I'm just blowing that name so bad. So you got yours, Alexander. That's good. You got me. And then he goes on to say, it's the center of South Africa, Orange Free State. And he goes, I've moved around, born in Rhodesia, now in Zimbabwe, have a British passport, so have to come home. And then Marcel Legrand says, yeah, I knew all that. I was just wondering if he has flown it yet. So I guess it's regarding Sam. Has he flown it yet?
Sam flew it, then he's flown it, he practiced with it.
Oh, he did. Yes. Sam flew the airplane. Yeah. He was flying it all week long. We flew it right after we got there. We started flying it and trimming it out, and he put a bunch of flights on it. Yeah, he was ready to go. It was just a question of there was too much on our plate, man. I mean, I dare anyone to go fly 3 events with 2 people and then try to go to the other side of the field and fly another event when you don't know when you're supposed to be there and you're in the middle of flying matches. And, you know, it was too much. It was absolutely too much to do in one day.
Yeah,
And of course,
And
we like
keep in
combat.
mind that the wind was screaming.
Yeah, well,
keep
that
in
didn't
mind the
scare
wind.
us. That don't.
What-
Sam can fly in the wind. He's not afraid of the wind. He's been flying in the wind since he was little. We just turn the needle in and lean it out, and he ain't afraid of the wind. You know,
He ain't afraid of no wind.
he ain't. He ain't afraid of the wind. No.
He ain't afraid of much as far
I-
as flying. He's a good He's going to be a great pilot.
I did not like hearing the comment that we saw what the competition was, and that's why we passed and scratched his flights in stunt. I did not like hearing that, not one bit.
Well,
I bet.
somebody make that kind of a remark, I think, is probably in a little bit doubtful of
Jealous.
their own abilities to compete.
I
Well,
mean that.
the boy flew 3 events in one day, you know, instead of, well, I don't want to go any further with it, but it's hacked me
It
off.
wasn't the case anybody bailing, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. And it wasn't a case of anybody being afraid of any other competition that was there. And for someone to say that, I think is very poor sportsmanship to say that
I
about
agree with you.
about a junior, to talk about a junior in that fashion,
Yeah.
to say he didn't
Was it
fly
a-
because,
Was it an adult that said it or another kid?
yeah, no, it was an adult. It was an adult.
Doesn't sound like an
Okay.
adult. Sounds like a physically matured person, but not mentally.
Sounds like an
Oh, yeah.
ignorant person. Yeah. But like I
Somebody
said,
hadn't seen Sam fly. Somebody has not seen Sam fly, that's for sure.
that's not the case. And Sam will get his chance. We'll put our money where our mouth is in the flying circle, you know. But,
I think this
yeah.
is the same. I think this is the same person you were upset with last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're kidding.
But
Him again?
It wouldn't have meant nothing, you know. There's not a whole lot of stock in a trophy that you just go out and do a reverse wing over to win, you know, and you don't do anything else. I don't know. So that's my hit back at him is, you know, my boy would have been out there flying the damn pattern. You know, we're not trophy hunters running around just trying to collect hardware. He would have tried his best and flown the damn pattern instead of just taking the easy road and doing one maneuver and walking away with it. So take that. I'm done. I've been waiting to say that, but I'm done.
Yeah,
Well, that's your son. I totally understand that.
that is sad. That's sad.
Marcel
Oh, well.
Legrand
Anyway.
says, "Awesome, great stuff." So he's enjoying the show.
Mm.
And he goes,
Mike?
"Did you get a video of it flying?" He asks Mike.
No video. No. What's up, Phil?
What did they have to do to your neck?
They took out 2 discs, put spacers in, and then put an appliance in, a big piece of hardware that screwed the 3 vertebrae together. If you look on that thread on Stunthangar, I had my 12-day post-op today because people were asking, and I said what's in there, and I posted a couple of pictures of the X-ray that they took today.
Yeah, so yours was compression problem.
No,
Mine was
I had-
arthritis.
I had 2 bulging discs. They were bulging and pushing on a nerve. So
Yeah, I've got that in my lower back, but my neck is. They told me it's arthritis. I fell off a bucket truck 20 years ago and landed on my head, and they said it was at the time. They told me they could not explain. I'm not going to quote the doctor exactly because he uses words I can't use, but he said whenever you figure out what the good Lord kept you here for, don't screw it up because it should have. They said it should have killed you, and I mean, it's now 20 years later, and my neck is really starting to give me the arthritis and all in there is really starting to drive me nuts. But I've had 20 years that by all rights I shouldn't have had, so I can't argue a bit.
Well, back on the Vector 40, somebody asked about the video. Don't have video, but I will say this. It trimmed out fairly quickly. The flaps needed just a little bit of tweaking. We ended up putting just a hair more tip weight on it and a Scotia tail weight. And the Brian Gardner 46 just purrs like a kitten. Boy, it's a good, strong motor. And we probably got, I don't know, 15 flights on the airplane during that week. So he'll get many more, and he'll save it for his BOM model for next year on the LPAD. Unless he's flying something bigger by then. Unless he's flying, you know.
Maybe he's gonna build something.
Well, we may, yeah, I'm sure we'll be building other stuff. I can tell you one thing for sure is we're going to put together a couple more of those Stuntbot airplanes, which are the foam wing elevator only. You know, they're like 550 square inches or maybe 570, but very similar to a Tiyasaki, but it's basically a foam wing Tiyasaki. I've got 3 more kits of those that Larry built. And as a backup plane or a wind weapon, I will call it, we're going to build one of those. And I'm actually going to set it up with a 40 on a bladder. And that, if the wind is ever what it was at the Nats, like it was this year.
Yeah, you'll be ready.
So they'll go out and fly pattern at 60 miles an hour. So what? The airplane will penetrate. It'll cut through. It won't crash. You know, it's just going to be like a backup weapon, so to speak. But
now I'm gonna have to build a Tiyasaki to do the same darn thing. Doggone it, Mike.
Well, I think, to be honest, a profile like that, like the Tiyasaki, with the very thin fuselage on it, that's good because you're not presenting that much more surface area to the wind when it's super windy.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's what Clayton's original idea was. This thing should work because it's so. We all told him it doesn't have enough side area to be tight on top, and he said turn the engine out more, but give it more rudder.
Mm-hmm.
But he said it should not wind vane, and the wind is bad. And by golly, he's right.
Yeah.
These things fly amazingly in the wind, but you know they're great airplanes. But you know they can be beat. Anything can be beat. When Tom went out and flew that little bitty trainer, I don't know the name of it. I've got a kit to it downstairs, and I don't know the name of it. But when he took that thing and one profile with a little bitty trainer that the bell crank is on the bottom of the airplane, I mean, all exposed, all the controls are exposed, solid foam wing, and one profile with it. I believe anybody can be beat and anybody can be invincible depending on the weather and the plane they're flying. But I'm telling you, that blows my mind. But TO is a great airplane, but there's others that are just as good. It's just one stunt weapon.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to leave. I'm running out of steam. So tight lines off.
Thank you, John.
Take care, Tom. We'll see you next week, John. Be careful. I might give you a call this week, John. Just
okay. You got my phone number?
I think so. I think I still have it.
Okay.
If not, I'll text you and get you to call me.
Okay.
You take care of yourself.
All right. Bye now.
John.
Bye now. Lordy. Well, I'm trying to figure out what Howard's doing. He's not made much of an appearance tonight.
Yeah, he needs to shut up. He talks too much.
I think that's me. Oh,
Howard.
He showed his blueberry patch in his backyard.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what. I'm trying to figure out Trey and staying busy. Oh, I recognize that. That's the stripe. Lordy.
wish I had a
Charles, what are
second.
you building now?
Well, hang on. You got me back. My mouth is full. Well, what I'm doing is I'm modifying my red Strega. You know, after bouncing around from my chipmunk and flying the red Strega, you know, when I get that new stalker motor running, I've been flying the Strega and I realized it's in turn. And so I don't want to add any more tail weight to the plane. I've been adding tail weight and I'm thinking about how to remove tail weight. And that's by moving the motor back. So I'm actually drilling holes in the engine bearers and moving the engine back. So I was
Put the shaft extension on it.
No shaft extension yet. That might be something I might end up doing. But right now I'm just gonna cut off the nose off and put a new nose ring if I need to. And just to get that plane so it'll turn better. I didn't realize it didn't turn until after flying the chipmunk, and I realized that the Strega does not turn. Mine doesn't. I'm sure there's some Stregas out there that do turn, but mine doesn't. And so
well, tell me something. Did that Strega start out as an ARF?
Yes.
You must have done something to the nose or it would have already flown off of the darn thing.
Yes, I did. I put some what do you call those things? Biscuits. It kind of like a woodworking. I did biscuits all over the wing saddle, you know, on the front and back on both sides. So I mean, that's why I'm actually fooling around with it, because it really is a strong plane. I mean, it has over 500 flights on it, and it's rigid, it's stiff, and so I'm just gonna.
You think a Tiger 60 would pull it?
I don't know. I have like 3 Super Tiger 60s, and I've only used my Super Tiger once, and it was in a lighter plane, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, my plane was up to, 79 ounces before I started working on. I had removed some weight.
79.
Yeah. I have removed about 2 ounces of weight, so I think it's down to 77. And I'm trying to find ways to remove the additional weight that's on there still. And but it's I mean, it has some things that does very well. I mean, the inverted flight is so sweet. It's like it's almost a waste of time for me to practice. But it's because it's nose heavy. I didn't realize that, because I just have been muscling the plane. I'll make it turn. And it does turn big. I just thought it just did big turns because it was a big plane. And now I realize that no, it's just too nose heavy.
Yeah.
So, and it's an ARF, and I have a lot to lose and hopefully a lot to learn. And if I mess up, if I go too far, I'll just move it back forward. So I'm going to, in a progression, go back further and further so I get to turn where I want to turn. I want it to act like it's not as big as it is. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what my...
Oh, yeah.
Sure
you
is.
need to shorten. If you shorten the nose, you can make it work. If you shorten the nose, that'll definitely take weight off the tail.
Charles,
because it's a barbell effect. I mean,
Charles, this is what I have to say about heavy planes, right?
Right.
Heavy planes will track because they're heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. So they will track very well, regardless, right? So try to push the CG back as far as you can until it starts to hunt. And you're going to probably find out that the plane is going to turn like gangbusters.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm anticipating. I was up till 5 this morning working on it, and I was hoping to fly it today. I felt disappointed. Yeah.
Wow.
And
so yeah, be prepared to pile on some weight on the tail, because you might put a lot in there. And expect it, actually, right? But what happens, this is what happens, because now the CG goes very close to the neutral. You might get to a point where it's going to start to wander a little bit. That's as far back as you can go with the CG. Then you want to back off and push it back forward a little bit until it just settles in, right? And you might find out that the plane might turn too fast for you now, okay? But what you do, leave the CG there, work with your handle spacing until it flies on your flying style again, okay? Like you give it up and the plane responds the way you are used to, right? So that's probably the direction I'd go with that. what's going to happen is because it's as CG moves backwards, they're going to have less deflection on the flaps and elevator to produce the turn,
Mhm.
which means less drag.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to maintain energy.
Right.
So
It means less movement on the handle.
yeah, and this is a very, very general rule that you can go by. If the plane is heavy, move the CG back. If the plane is super light, push the CG forward. If the plane is normal, and pretty much leave the CG normal, right?
Right.
Kind of the idea, the general idea. But since you said it's 78 or whatever ounces, yeah, you can save some weight off the nose and whatever, But yeah. And Phil, I have a Strega ARF with a Rojet 65.
It stays together. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I want to sell it, but I couldn't find anybody to get it.
Hey,
Well,
If
hey,
you guys know
Steve,
any-
good to see you.
Huh?
The only two we had around here, Kent Ticer, who won nationals in advanced a few years back, had one with a Rojet 65 on it. I think it was on a muffler. I can't remember, but I think he was on his 6th flight, and we had to go down through the woods and find the nose of his airplane.
Oh, it's too bad.
It broke off. It broke off. So, and Kent's a good builder, but it was an ARF. But after that, when I had already bought one, and I said, well, I'm going to build my own fuselage, because I got to looking at it. It's put together with hot glue. What does a running motor get? Hot. It melts the glue. Well, you wonder why it came apart. Well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We had 2 Rodak Strega ARFs here in Nashville. 2 different guys broke by the 3rd. Nose and tank broke off by the 3rd flight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, mine's solid. I mean, really, I'm not kidding. Over 520 documented flights.
Wow.
With a Stalker
You're
81.
lucky. You're lucky, or you did something very well.
Or maybe he got a different. Maybe he got a different batch.
He must
like I said,
have.
I put the biscuits in the wing saddle, in the front on both sides, and the back on both sides.
Oh yeah, well that would do it.
So
that would do it.
It's solid.
Yeah, I'm using the wing out of Strega on my Turbo Raven. I thought of the name. I thought of something tonight. How about that? Anyway,
right.
I'm using the wing out of that on the Turbo Raven, and the wing is built, the flaps and everything. If you see it hanging downstairs, you'll know that's a Turbo Raven wing, because nothing else looks like that. And it's got some huge flaps on it, but they don't go all the way to the end of the wing either. They miss by about 6 inches, because I just didn't want to overload it too bad. But that one I haven't decided whether it's going to be electric or it's going to be an 81. It's one or the other, but I don't know which one yet. I'm really thinking I'm going to put it electric, because then I can use what's supposed to be the exhaust scoops to let the hot air for the motor out of the side of the airplane, make them functional. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I got too many projects, not enough time right now. But like I say, 2 hours today just taping on a Ringmaster. I am not a painter. I like to get up with a good painter and learn how people paint these things so quickly and so nice, because I'm not it. But anyway.
Get yourself some Wendy videos. I mean, he explains a lot of stuff.
Oh, I did. I've got a bunch of Wendy videos, and I've watched it. You know, my wife and I's standing joke is, if I have insomnia, I plug in a Wendy tape. Wendy can put me to sleep faster than anybody I've ever known. But if you can stay awake, you can learn more than about anybody else you can talk to. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely. I love his videos. I've learned. I mean, I was telling Carl, I think I've watched over 300 videos of Wendy.
Yeah, I've got about 30 of them downstairs, 30, 35 of them downstairs. He's very good. I've got a bunch of his videos. I've got a bunch of Bob Hunt's videos. Now what I've got to do is get another video player. Mine broke. So just wore out. I wore the darn thing out. I've got a bunch of Al Raby tapes. So
who put all the Wendy videos on Stunthangar or YouTube or something?
YouTube, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the new collection. What's that guy's
Paul
name?
Taylor.
No, there's
Paul
another guy.
Taylor.
Well, there's another guy too who's putting out some videos lately that are some really nice ones. What's the guy's name? Trying to remember the guy's name. But it's something collection.
If
Yeah,
you know, let us know.
I like because I got some windy tapes, but I like the ones that Paul Taylor did because you can fast forward through all the stuff that puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
and that's like
If there is one tip I have for getting a nice finish, is the quality of the woodwork in particular. And as you run your fingers over it, it should feel very smooth, and all the joints, you shouldn't feel something different over there into the joints.
Yeah.
And you probably want to make sure you impregnate the wood very, very well with lacquer or whatever you want to put on the wood, and you sand it down very lightly and do that. Make sure it's soaked in, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have, if the wood has a base with the joints that are weird and stuff like that, you will never get those things out.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So
the one thing I always do too is like 2 coats of thin lacquer on the wood before I ever put a piece of sandpaper to it.
Yeah.
Because
2 coats
when you have
and then sand
different woods at different densities, it's hard to sand. If you get them, and I think, you know, how Bob Hunt does it now with the thin coat of epoxy.
Yeah.
That will stiffen the wood to where it will sand a whole lot better. There ain't nothing worse than trying to sand stuff that's
2 or 3 different densities.
Yeah, you know, it's like back when you used to fiberglass the center section of wings and feathering out, everybody had scalloped the hell out of them. And I told them, I'm like, take some thin epoxy or whatever and go 2 or 3 inches out on the wing and then feather that fiberglass cloth in and stuff, and you won't see it. But if you try to feather into raw balsa, man, it'll
Forget
be
it.
Yep. You'll
That
have
probably caused more folded wings than anything else we've done.
I've never had a problem with a fiberglass center section.
Well, I never did either, but I learned like you're saying, when you're going to join them, whether it's foam wing, built up wing, whatever, if you're going to join it, you take fiberglass and get it warm, put it in the microwave or something and get it to the consistency of water. Just a little bit. Don't mix up an ounce, mix up a 1/4 ounce. Pour it out there and squeeze it around where it's going to be and keep it moving until there's nothing left. And then, thank you. Keep it moving until there's nothing left. And then go again and do the whole wing. And then when you get the whole wing done, then you can put your wings together and put your tape on it. And when you go to sand it, you're sanding fiberglass wood instead of, or not fiberglass, but epoxied wood instead of raw wood. And you just don't scallop it so bad. Me.
The other thing is too, is that I don't stick fiberglass way out on a wing. You know, no,
I don't either.
I put it like as far as a 2-inch strip, 1 inch on both sides of that. And that's as far as I go. And it's inside of the fuselage side. So there's not a, you know.
Yeah. I try to do the same thing, but I try to take it out as far as the fuselage sides are going to be and end it under the fuselage. So the sides sit down on where I put it to. But I'll take masking tape and put it just outside of that. And then I'll hot epoxy out to the masking tape, but try not to go over it or in it because it's hard to get it up then. But I mean, really try to scrape it all off. And what you're going to do is push it down in the wood. But then when you put your tape or whatever on it, you've got something to work with. It's hard enough that you're not going to, when you go to sand it and taper it, you're not going to just make big scallops in the wood. We got a guy here that He didn't do that. I told him and I told him and I told him, and he put it together, put the sides together, raw wood, put the epoxy on, put the tape on it, and then he tried to feather this down. And he had 2 gouges, one on either side. So his answer was, no joke, wood filler. Then tissue over, then dope, then tissue over that. First time he did a few flights that he just up and down trying to get used to, make everything, get it run right and everything. First time he put a pattern on the thing and tried to reverse wing over, the wing folded on each side of the fuselage. The tips touched, and of course the plane hit the ground. But we got looking at it, and he'd scalloped that 1/16 down to where it was paper thin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't do stuff like that. You can't make a stress riser in your wing and expect it to hold up. But anyway, it's just something you got to live and learn. But Tom Looper, when he was president of our club 30 years ago, he came in one night that he was asked to do a talk on covering and finishing stunt models and getting a good finish. So the first night he came in and he showed us how to prep the wood, and we covered a wing. The next week we came in and he was going to show how to get the finish like he had on his new Ombre 35 at that time. This was not 30 years ago. This was 40 years ago. But anyway, he came in and he laid the plane on the counter, and he opened this briefcase and he picked up a handful of sandpaper and he dropped it on the table. There's the secret to a good finish. Don't be scared of the sandpaper, but don't get stupid. Don't go at 80 grit on a piece of 1/16. I mean, you gotta act with a little bit of sense. But we see Sparky, and everybody sees Sparky and they laugh at Sparky because, my God, all he ever does is sand. Yeah, but look at his finishes.
Yeah.
If Sparky would put 2 more coats of thinner, 2 more coats of clear on his airplanes, 2 more coats, let the thing set a week and then go in and sand like he does and get the finish that he gets, but get it really shiny, Sparky would take home that Concours Award. Ain't nobody does a better finish than Sparky. He thinks too much about the weight. He's too worried about the weight, and 2 more coats ain't going to hurt his airplanes flying that much.
No, I don't think so.
But he would. I think Sparky is capable of winning the Concours d'Elegance if he would just quit worrying about the darn 6-ounce finish. If everybody else is doing a 10-ounce finish and you're doing a 6, then an 8 is not going to hurt you.
Yeah, I would love to know why Sparky got 18 points instead of 19 points.
Well, it's a good looking airplane. But
I'll tell you why. Because there was 3 other airplanes that were better than his.
Yeah. Have
you
seen the Mustang?
There were 3 other airplanes that had better finishes. That's why.
No. I'm not saying you judge anything wrong. Okay. I'm just.
Well, you wanted to know why he didn't get 19 points because there was 3 other airplanes that were worthy of 19 points and his wasn't.
Yeah.
It was worthy of 18.
Was it a little bit on the finishing when it fits, or
he sanded through on color.
Oh,
and
Lord, okay.
I don't think he deserved 18 points, and I told Mike that. But if you look at the checkerboard on the rudder, there's white spots where he had sanded through.
Oh, okay.
And on the Dr. Pepper part of that, you could see through the color.
Okay. See, we didn't know that, but I do know.
Nobody knows that because everybody looks at a picture and goes, "Oh my God, that's a 20-point airplane." Unless you got that airplane in your hand next to the other airplanes, you cannot judge from a photograph. You cannot.
That's why I'm wondering. That's why I'm wondering, Mike.
Can't do it unless you've seen the airplane in person.
Yeah, we're not knocking you, Mike. We're just saying that he builds a pretty airplane, but if he put a few more coats of clear on it, so he doesn't sand through, I think he could win it. But
a little more color.
I have seen a picture of Todd's Mustang, and granted, it was a picture, but that's a pretty airplane. That thing, I saw a series of pictures of it. That is a really pretty airplane. I don't think anybody would look at Dr. Pepper and look at that Mustang and give Dr. Pepper more points than the Mustang. And
Well,
I don't even know who the other two airplanes were. I've never even seen pictures. Don't know what the other two airplanes even were. But if they were equal to that one, they were nice planes. I know one of them was Paul Walker, but I have not seen a picture of Paul Walker's airplane.
Paul Walker and Steve Millette.
What were they flying, Mike?
Paul had his anteater, whatever it was, impact.
Long nose.
Yeah.
Long nose. Okay.
And I'm not sure.
That's a pretty airplane.
That's what,
I mean,
well, that's what
really
other people
pretty.
call the anteater. Steve
Yeah.
Millette, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was. It looked like a legacy type looking airplane, but
Okay.
don't quote me on that.
I've seen pictures of that one too, and that was a stunning
The
airplane as
difference
well. So,
between all three of them was that Todd's airplane had as many full ribs as what an I-beam airplane did.
yeah,
And
he does.
he had that sanded with silk span, and I mean, it glistened in the sun. You could see every ripple, just like everybody loves on a I-beamer. And the work he had to do to get that wing to look like that.
The ink lines and the rivets on the ribs.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet he had 2,000 rivets on that airplane.
It was really something.
He had
Every
the
rib,
highest
every
ratio
rib
of-
had a rivet.
He had the highest ratio of appearance points to weight of anybody there.
Wow. Well, I tell you what.
Was it heavy, Howard? Was it a heavy airplane?
No, it was light.
Oh, was it light? Okay, all right.
I've known Todd a long time.
I mean,
and he builds a
I
beautiful
can't
airplane.
imagine how much time he put in on sanding and finishing and buffing. I mean, it was something. That wing with all them ribs in there, it just looked so cool.
I bet it did. I bet
You know,
it did. Like I say, he does a great job.
Marlette or whatever was that his name?
Millette.
The other guy?
Steve Millette.
I loved
Steve
his
Millette.
color scheme. I loved the paint scheme on it. But Todd, I mean, with all the rivets and all the ribs and all that, it was just, to me, it should have won concourse. It just
Didn't it win the concourse?
Yeah,
it did.
Todd won it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pilot's choice, and I mean, it was a nice airplane. That's all there was to it.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'd love to see him, but I tell you what, I don't envy Mike the job of trying to.
It's pretty.
Oh, that looks good.
So-
That looks great.
You know, we
Great.
talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right after the Nats, and we don't have the luxury of putting those and then moving them like they did in the 180 building.
No, I
Okay,
don't know how you
so
did
you're
it.
looking at 70 airplanes over a 2-hour period, trying to remember what you did. And when it was all said and done, there was 2 airplanes I would have moved. I would have
That's
swapped
hard, Mike.
2
That's
airplanes after I saw it. Last year, I don't think I would have moved anything. I think we had it right last year, but this year, I'll admit there was 2 planes that should have been switched. And if we had the opportunity to do it like they do it in the 180 building, we would have done that, but we didn't. And I challenge anyone to do it when you got 100 people standing there
No.
watching you.
Well,
And
the
I
other
don't-
thing is, Mike, you had no lighting. You're under a roof with no lights. It was a cloudy,
wind's
windy
moving
day.
35 miles an hour or
And
whatever.
when you're in that 180 building, you have all the lights shining down on them airplanes, and you could see the shine. You couldn't see the
Yeah.
shine till the next day, till you got out when they put everything out in the grass. Then you
I
could
don't know how
really
y'all did it.
see what the airplanes look like with light on them. But
Yeah.
when you guys judged, there was no light.
I think you did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
I think you did a great job. Well, guys, I'm gonna get out of here because I've got to go get one with my ice pack, and it's the only way I can get any sleep is to ice this thing down so it deadens it enough I can go to sleep. Anyway, you guys have a
Was
great one. I'll
your
see
neck?
you. Neck and shoulder. Yeah, they say I pinched a nerve. He says I've got arthritis is built up in my neck, and when I looked up, evidently I pinched a nerve, and it's just gonna. They got me on a 4-week regimen, and then I got to get a physical therapy and all kinds of garbage. And take so many medicines. I'm not one to even take an aspirin, and they got me
Yeah.
taking 4 medicines, and they make me so loopy I can't remember anything. So it's about ridiculous. But it's time to go take the medicine and put this thing on. So I'm gonna get off of here because I just get really silly right after I take that. Y'all have a great one. I'll see you Monday, and
All right.
have a great
Right,
weekend,
so-
everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Phil.
you
Thanks for coming in.
too, Phil.
Yes, sir.
Good night. Take
I'm
care of
gonna,
yourself.
I'm gonna sign off too. I got grandkids that'll get me up early in the morning. So
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Lucky you, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
yeah,
Just fill them up with sugar and send them home.
we, we've got them for 10 days, so that doesn't work.
Oh, how old are they? How old are they?
3 and 5, 2 boys.
Oh man, you're gonna be worn out by the end of those days.
We'll see how much hair Tom has come next Friday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. We'll all know what happened.
All right. Well, thanks very much for coming in, Tom. And we're getting ready to
Take it
transition
easy,
to
Tom.
the after party. It's just about time anyway. So, anyways, like we continue on, and we just end the live stream, but we've been having a good show and had a lot of chat, and we had a $10 super chat by Jack Snavely. Thank you very much, Jack. And we have had at one point we had as many as 28 viewers, and we have 19 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. And if you're watching this as a replay, hit the like button. And we do this every Monday and Friday at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is Friday, and we'll be back Monday. Hopefully you'll have some time to go flying or do something in your shop and come back and tell us all about it Monday. And until then, as Sparky would say, tight lines and fair winds. Good night.